An outsider in a series with deep Southern roots, Jeff Gordon almost immediately took NASCAR mainstream. The California native pushed the sport beyond a regional series to one with an international presence.
Jeff Gordon has locked up the championship.
A four-time Cup Series champion, his 93 victories ranked third all-time. After his retirement from the sport, Gordon spent 6 years in the broadcast booth. But now he's back with the team he spent his entire Cup career with, and his longtime friend, Rick Hendrick. So today, I'm looking forward to sitting down with the man Forbes magazine once said was the biggest one-man marketing machine in all of motorsports.
I'm Kyle Petty, race car driver, musician, speed enthusiast. I know where I found my passions in life, but I'm always curious about where others found theirs. And I've figured out over the years, the best way to get to know someone better is over a little food. So I'm hitting the road to catch up with some friends, to hear their life stories, and you're invited. Pull up a seat and join us for this edition of Dinner Drive. The only thing more impressive than the resume of Hendrick Motorsports is this facility where all those championships come from, right here in the shadow of Charlotte Motor Speedway. Hey! I'm trying to do a show open here to make Jeff Gordon look good.
Oh, that's what you were doing?
I'm trying.
I mean, come on. I might have helped you a little bit.
Oh, you helped me a lot, man. How you been?
Great to see you.
Good to see you. It's been forever, it seems like.
I know.
So what's up with the Corvette? I mean, is this your parking place? But what is up with the Corvette?
No, I don't park here, but, you know, I definitely love Corvettes.
Yeah.
We obviously have a relationship with Chevrolet, but this thing serves two purposes. One, it's just bad to the bone.
Yeah.
And two is we use this car for our foundation. We've raised a lot of money for pediatric cancer through the Jeff Gordon Children's Foundation. So we'll be raffling this car off later this year.
So let's just start there. So you're telling me to raise money for your charity, you just auction off a used car to help kids and help families.
Exactly. But listen, hey, our goal is $4 million this year. And since I'm taking you to dinner in this, the value just went up.
So you're gonna let me ride in this car?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I bet you love riding with race car drivers, right?
Yeah, I love riding.
I know how much I love it.
This is gonna bring the value down. Now look, I like this old car, okay? It's really a nice old car. But can we go in here and see some really cool old cars? Because I love these old cars.
Would love to take you in there.
Come on. Man, I want to see some Tim Richmond stuff.
Oh, we got it.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, that's an awesome car.
Jeff Bodine,
Jeff Bodine
DW.
stuff. DW, oh my, you got them all in here, man. You got it all.
I love this one because this is the history, right, of Rick Hendrick Motorsports, where it all started. Jeff Bodine getting that win at Martinsville back in '84.
The beginning and almost the end. If he hadn't won, none of this would be here. I mean, that's the way Rick tells
it. That's what I'm saying. It all pivots around this right here.
Single car.
And then you got 2014, phenomenal year for us. Alan Gus was semi-crew chief, and man, we won a bunch of races. I think 4 or 5 races with this car, or with that year.
All right, seeing all these cars, seeing the history in this place, it's interesting. I grew up in a place where there's a little bit of history too, so it's history. But I'm hungry, so let's go to dinner because I want to find out how Jeff Gordon got to this place.
Are you buying?
I'll buy this time. I'll buy this time. I promise. Where's the door handle? How do I get in?
What? Come on, Kyle.
Oh, there it is. There it is. I didn't know. I don't have fancy cars.
Listen, getting in is easier than getting out. I've found.
I started to crawl through the window.
Coming from being an open wheel guy, my thought was, stock cars are just big old heavy taxi cabs. I'm like, I don't want to race those.
Yeah.
That was my mindset, right?
I'm sure.
Until I drove one.
I guess in a car like this, you're never going to be late. Is that right?
No, we will get there in a hurry if we want to. But I know how much I hate sitting over there when a race car driver's driving. Are you nervous right now?
I'm a little bit nervous, and I don't want you to get in a hurry because this is going to be somebody else's car before too very long, okay? So we just need to be careful.
Well, listen, I look at this. They're going to see this, and they're going to be able to tell us. This car is already building stories.
Yes.
It's gonna have a lot of meaning to it.
A lot of meat. So we're going to eat. Where are you taking me to eat?
Oh, man, I have picked the spot for you, yes. With a view like maybe you've seen it once or twice.
Oh my
we're gonna
gosh.
go to Charlotte Motor Speedway to the Speedway
Club.
Yeah.
Listen, there's nothing better than track food. Nothing better than track food, bud. I appreciate this.
You got it. My pleasure.
All right, man. Check the view.
I always love what's going on here. There's auto fair, races.
And let me ask you, like, you won here like 10 million times. So is this where you pre-raced? Is this where you tailgated up here in the Speedway Club?
I just want to get the seat warmed up before we get, we used to come up here and do the big toast, right? The champagne toast, which was always a big treat. I won my first race here, obviously, and it was a big deal, right? All the fans were up here that were members and the champagne, and that was a big deal. It made the win feel even bigger by coming up here and being a part of that.
It just put a ribbon on it.
Yeah, at that time, and maybe still to this day, I don't know any other place that has a full-blown restaurant like this where people get to watch the race with this view and eat great food.
Well, another place that you won a lot of races, Martinsville has that full-blown restaurant in the infield that serves hot dogs. That's the same kind of thing.
Same, yeah.
It's exactly the same, man.
I'm sure people enjoy it just as much.
Just as much, man. Just as much. This is a Kyle question. Where are you from? Because here's the question. It seemed like when you showed up and started racing, everywhere there was a racetrack, this is Jeff Gordon's hometown. This is Jeff Gordon's hometown.
It's all my mom's fault. So here's what. Okay, I'm from Vallejo, California, and Vallejo. So we moved to Indiana, Pittsburgh, Indiana, and we start racing in Indiana. I'd already been racing for years in California. When we moved to Indiana and started going around the Midwest, and my mom would, you have to fill out a thing, because I'm 13, 14 years old. So you fill out this entry blank and the information about the driver. So she puts my name, Vallejo, California. And, when you go out to qualify, they announce who's coming, right? From Valley Ho, from Valley Joe, California. It never was Vallejo, right? And so we would just laugh and joke about it. My mom said, you know what, I'm just going to go to Pittsburgh. Yeah. And then that stuck. So, like, if you were going to watch ESPN Thursday Night Thunder, it was Jeff Gordon from local Pittsburgh boy, right?
Local boy, that's it.
And then when we went back for the Brickyard, local guy. Yeah. But I consider myself an adopted Hoosier.
Okay.
And I'm a Vallejo, California guy.
So go back to that, to California. What was young Jeff Gordon like?
I guess, early on, I got introduced to cars and racing really, really young. My stepdad, he had a machine shop and built things for people with race cars and cars. And so I just remember myself being a kid that was pretty quiet, pretty shy, and I was all about racing because I started going to a racetrack when I was 5.5 years old, racing quarter midgets. I was probably 11 at that time. A couple years later after that, my dad was like, what do you think about a sprint car? And I'm like, I'm too young. And he's like, I don't know, there's some kids, that racing pretty young, not here in California, but in the Midwest. And then Open Wheel magazine came, and I religiously looked at, Open Wheel magazine, and it comes, and there's this article on this kid from Florida. His name was Sport Allen, and he was racing, I think he was either 14 or 15 years old. And I showed it to my dad, and he's like, that's what I'm talking about. We're going sprint car race. It's shortly after that. And so we got this sprint car. We're assembling in California, getting it ready to go racing, and nobody in California is allowing us to race. There's no strict rules and laws in California Got to
Welcome
be
to
16.
California.
Yeah, exactly. Gas prices, strict laws.
Yeah.
And so we built that car, drove all the way to Florida. And this is in February 1985. Got to Florida and just, hey, we're here to race. And they looked at me, and I looked like I was 10. And they're like, he's not the driver, is he? And, I mean, the seat was this wide. And my dad, again, he figured out a way how to get me on that racetrack. He believed in me. And we realized we're not going to be able to do this in California. Where should we do this at? And they said, hey, we like Indiana. Let's pick up and move to Indiana. When I was racing sprint cars, at least in my mind, we're just racing sprint cars. It wasn't, this is a path to get somewhere. We're trying to be Mario Andretti. That's certainly not where my mind was at. It was when I transitioned, started racing on pavement, then I get in this USAC midget. Boom, I win the first race, live on ESPN. And we go to the next race, and I don't know, we finish second or third, and now, man, things are rolling. It's like, whoa, what's this all of a sudden? At that point, I met Larry Newber.
Oh, yeah.
And Larry was an ESPN guy, covered NASCAR. Larry was like, you need to consider NASCAR. And that's where the first time I remember, hearing about me potentially looking at being, and I'll be honest, coming from being an open wheel guy, driving a badass sprint car, right? And being around Indy cars, my thought was, stock cars are just big old heavy taxi cabs. I'm like, I don't want to race those. Yeah. That was my mindset, right?
I'm sure.
Until I drove one.
Yeah.
When I drove one, I thought, oh, I got a whole different mindset.
Yeah, it's a different car.
This is high bank tracks. You're going fast. You're driving the wheels off this thing. I realized that first time I drove a stock car, even though it was Buck Baker driving school and all that stuff, I realized this is way closer to what I've been doing than what I'm trying to pursue in anything IndyCar.
So the focus changed. You went to the Buck Baker driving school. How fast did it move from there?
Crazy fast.
Yeah.
I definitely was the most well-known race car driver that was there, right?
Yeah.
There were other guys that were some late model guys and some different things. And it just happened to be this gentleman, guy named Hugh Connerty, was there with a Busch Grand National car. I mean, think about that. How often do you go to a driving school and there's a guy with an actual race car, right?
Yeah. And once every 10 years, 15 years.
And so here I go there. Here he is, and he's driving around the track. Now, he's a pretty big guy, and Buck says, hey, I think I can talk him into letting you drive that car. This is what you want to do. You want to get into Busch Grand National. Would you like to drive this car? And I was like, heck yeah, I'll drive anything. And so I remember go over there to the seat, and we had to get like 5 pillows to stuff inside this thing for me to even fit. I couldn't reach the pedals. I couldn't see the steering wheel. So we stuffed everything in there. I strapped in. There was nothing to keep me from making those laps. And I went out there. I don't know how I didn't wreck this thing because I flew, right? I just was like, this is my one moment.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I pull in, and he goes, I just want to let you know that, I was out there driving, thinking I'm going fast. And they said, you got in that thing and showed me what it's really capable of doing. He goes, I realized right then I don't need to be in that race car. Would you like to drive it?
Yeah.
We're scheduled to do 3 races at the end of this year. That's where it all started.
So you spent a couple of years in the Busch Series, won some races.
Yep.
Where and how did you meet Rick, and how did that next chapter start?
So we go the second year, go to Atlanta early in the season, and we win that race. And that was like Saturday. On Monday or Tuesday of the next week, Rick asked me to come down to his office. He's got an office in Charlotte. And I went. I'll never forget, pull up to the building, come in this side door like it's all secretive and stuff. And here's Rick sitting behind the desk, and we, just sat down for, I don't know, an hour, 30 minutes, whatever it was. And I was like, holy crap, I'm sitting in front of Rick Hendrick. Like, is this really, true? Is this really possible? Is this going to happen?
It's crazy to think that's how business was done then. These great answers. I am enjoying this, but I'm also a little bit hungry.
Yeah, me
so
too.
I need to. I know I'm keeping you from eating, man. So we need the entree. So let's.
Well, that was part of the deal. If you're gonna sit me down and we're gonna, talk, we gotta at least eat some food.
I've kept you so long now. I gotta pay. So yeah, let's get to entrees.
now all of a sudden I'm the pretty boy,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not the good old Southern,
That's right.
you know, boy with the cowboy boots and from California and driving a rainbow color car and all that stuff.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you. You're gonna eat that whole sandwich?
Yeah,
that sandwich
that's exactly
is huge.
what I ordered.
That sandwich is huge. All right, pull yourself away from your sandwich, from your food here, just for a minute. I got a couple more questions.
I'm gonna try. I think it's gonna take me a week to eat this thing.
So, 4 championships, 93 wins, 805 stock. I mean, you've done so much. I want you to just give me 1 or 2 special memories.
So obviously,
Yeah.
the Brickyard, the inaugural Brickyard. You remember how
Oh, yeah.
big that event
Huge.
was. I mean, that win changed my career. I mean, this win here at Charlotte, my first one, was big, but the Brickyard 400, just that day is probably, if I had to pick one race, probably the most significant one of my career. And then I would pick the last win. It was Martinsville, but I think the memory that stands out the most to me is getting out of that car and seeing my 2 kids and my wife run up. You know, for them to be able to experience coming to the racetrack and their dad winning,
Yeah.
and what it meant for the end of my career, that one definitely stands out in a big way.
When you came into the sport, your success early on, changed the sport, changed the way a lot of people looked at the sport. And you weren't Dale Earnhardt Sr., Rusty Wallace, Mark Martin. You were in the car. You were their equal in every way. But off the racetrack, they were of this school, and you were of this school. Was that a conscious effort?
I didn't know who I was at that time, right? I'm too young to really figure out exactly who I was. Heck, I'm still trying to figure it out. But TV is a part of this. Like this how you promote yourself, what you say, how you present yourself, and branding and all those things. If an opportunity came along and it seemed like a cool opportunity, even though I was scared to death
Yeah.
to do it, if it was the Tonight Show or you know, Letterman, or if it was being on a sitcom,
Yep.
few things started trickling where now all of a sudden I'm the pretty boy,
Yeah.
you know, the totally, I'm not the good old Southern,
That's right.
you know, boy with the cowboy boots and from California and driving a rainbow color car and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I saw more good things happening because of that. I didn't see bad things happening. So I went with it.
That's interesting. You did single-handedly take the sport to a different place. Did you feel that pressure that all of us were counting on you?
I'll never take that much credit for it or put that much on my shoulders, just because, you know, I felt like I wanted to represent our sport the best that I possibly could. Because honestly, even more so because I wasn't
Yeah.
Dale. I
Yeah.
wasn't your dad. I wasn't from the South. And I saw, you know, the sport branching outside of that, and I wanted to see it grow too.
As you get to the end of your career, you chose TV and to go into the booth, okay, and stay a part of the sport. Why? Why?
Listen, Rick Hendrick and I have an incredible relationship. So I came to him and I said, hey, my back's hurting. I really need to start thinking about when I'm going to start transitioning out of driving. So I ran it by him, and he's like, you know, I think it's a great idea. Go do that for a couple years, and then I want you over here.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, good
Yeah.
deal. That's what I did.
Yeah.
Well, that turned into 6 years
Yeah.
because I really did like it. I am a huge race fan. I don't care what they're racing.
Yeah, just
I want to be a part of it and
Yeah.
see it, and I find something interesting in all of it.
So I want to go to you and Rick, because very quickly he became a friend, but he seems a lot deeper than that. How has that relationship evolved? What does Rick mean to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's like family to me.
Yeah.
There were times when I was going through a divorce. I'm living at their house. I'm in one of their rooms at their house, right? And they're like, "What time are you going to be home tonight?" Right? And stuff like that. And over time, over years, talking about my retirement, talking about being, you know, more involved in Hendrick Motorsports, going fishing. It's all these things.
Yeah.
You know, it's way far
Yeah.
beyond a partnership, a business partnership, or a car owner and driver.
What do you see on the horizon for Jeff Gordon?
I think, you know, where the sport's headed, I think that's where my focus is primarily at, is what's next for NASCAR. Packed grandstands, drivers being rock stars when they leave the racetrack, and I want to see it get back to that. So whatever I can contribute to that part of it, that's what my main focus on right now.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having dinner. You can.
Yeah, thanks for much. I mean,
you can finish. You can finish your dinner right there. That's all right. Okay, man, so we've talked about every type of racing that you've ever done, from go-karts to midgets to sprint cars to cup to a little bit of everything else. But have you ever done this type?
Nope.
Nope.
Not until now.
I'm spinning the tires now.